Hello and welcome to Business Talk. I'm Louise Perry. The UK's economy is failing to grow and nearly half of British businesses say they're either very or quite concerned about managing their cash over the next year. Almost half say they've recently suffered from a lack of cash, and 1 in 4 say late or failed payments from customers are their main reason for a shortage of funds. We'll discuss hints and tips from experts on how small businesses can keep the cash flowing by using alternative financing solutions. And joining me is Kevin Boyd, Divisional Managing Director of Santander, and Ian Mason, Head of Policy at the London Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Now, you must see small businesses coming to you quite a lot at the Chamber of Commerce. What's the current mood for British business?
Well, I think overridingly it's more positive than it was 12 months ago.
Which is great.
Which is fantastic. So businesses seeing more inquiries, businesses seeing, more interest in what they do. But I think, as you say, cash flow is one of the biggest concerns. 95% of all businesses will experience late payments at some point. 25% of all businesses experience 40% of all of their payments being late. So it's a big problem.
And you've seen, obviously, that they're concerned with the cash flow.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's, as I say, it's the number one issue when they come to talk to us is bank finance and late payments.
Do you find that, Kevin? Do you find that people come to you and they're concerned about cash flow?
Yeah, absolutely. And cash is the lifeblood of any business. So if you think of a business as a person can survive without food for some time, but without water, they can't last very long. And cash is like water to a person. And that's why they're concerned about cash flow. As Ian said, many businesses, almost half, have experienced some disruption to their cash flow in the last year, which is why they're concerned and which is why they come and speak to us.
What can you do about it? If you've got cash flow issues, what can you do?
Speak to your bank. Speak to your bank about some products that may be available to help you. So from invoice financing, where a bank can pay you up to 85% of that invoice value within hours of you having issued it to your customer, to supplier payments, which is at the other end of that chain, where a bank will pay your supplier for an invoice almost within hours of the supplier having issued it. Now that then allows you as a business to know when you're going to receive cash, know when you're going to pay cash out to your suppliers, but also potentially from a supplier point of view, negotiate better discounts with them.
Now, you, Ian, run your own business as well, so you look at it from a personal perspective. Did you, when you first started out, did you have issues with cash flow? Did you encounter problems early on?
I did. I mean, it was one of the biggest problems I had within the first sort of 12 months, because I ignored it, because I thought, oh, well, it'll be fine. There's all these invoices that have gone out. People owe me lots of money, so there'll be absolutely no problem. And then after a while, 80% of my clients paid after the 30-day payment terms. And then you think, actually, this is a huge problem. We need money to finance growth. We need to pay the wages and all those sorts of things. So really, I mean, the first thing I did was you have to get on top of it. So putting strict payment terms out to suppliers, making it clear, which account they need to pay the money into, which the number of businesses that don't do that is ridiculous. And then following on from that, try and use the data, benchmark that against peers. Maybe perhaps go and find one of the many mentors out there that can give you some advice on the issue. And as you rightly say, make sure you've got that relationship with the bank manager right as well.
And that really is important, to build that relationship. So why do you think that small businesses are maybe a little bit apprehensive about going to the bank manager? Is it that fear of bank manager's going to say no, computer's going to say no? Yeah,
I mean, there is a perception that access to finance is still very difficult, and it's a perception driven by many things, media comment, discussion, dinner party chat. Speak to the bank though. We have, and every other bank has, a need to continue lending to business and has an appetite to do that. The thing that keeps me awake at night is, am I lending enough to businesses within my patch, and am I meeting the expectations that I have on the amount that me and my team need to lend?
So it is important to get that relationship. Don't be frightened of the bank manager.
Yeah.
Now, we don't have a lot of time, but if you were going to give a couple of words of wisdom, top tips about cash flow, what would you give to anyone watching today?
It has to be planning. So, in the same way you look at business plan, particularly smaller businesses perhaps won't refer to that as often as they ought to do. And they don't review it as often as they ought to do either. And the same goes for their cash flow. Make sure you know what's coming in, what's coming out. And even, a month might seem like an awfully long time to plan for, but actually you need to plan week by week, particularly when you've got a very small business and you're trying to...
So literally break it down, what's coming in each week and what's going out each week.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. You need to be able to make sure you've got that extra cash to prevent full and foul shocks.
And what about you, Kevin? What would you be your...
I would echo everything Ian has said, and also add to that, take some advice. Speak to your local Chamber of Commerce, speak to accountants you might know, speak to your banker, speak to banks run a mentoring scheme, www.mentorsme.co.uk. A mentor could help, but planning, forecasting, being on top of things day to day is really what it's about, knowing your own business, because really it's your business.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. We've run out of time. Now, if you want to find out more about alternative financing that we've just been discussing, then you can have a look at santandercb.co.uk or take a look at the londonchamber.co.uk, and we'll see you again very soon.